Our next matter is being taken by the Government Chief Whip. Thank you for coming in, and it's in the name of our commencement matter, Senator Niall O'Donnell. Senator, you have 4 minutes.
Gurmaigad a Carly agus Boylan Falchacur Riv and Chak the Chambers, Tamadul Gamor agus Kugarjas, Lesson Ara as a Capahan, Tamadul Gamor Lord Vegober Les Gomalesco, a Shaw Makaharia, a Daka La Cursi Gaeliga, August Cursi Gael Takta. I want to welcome Minister Chambers and thank him for coming before us here this morning. The questions as laid out in this commencement matter, Cahirlach, are very clear. They're very succinct in terms of what they ask, and I think they reflect a sense of urgency and anticipation, most acutely, but not exclusively, felt by Irish citizens and more broadly, people in the North, given the very live political climate that we're now into. So there's a series of questions there. There are members of this institution and indeed other institutions who are very keen and anxious to see this unit begin its work, to help enable that work, to assist in that work, and to just see what this shared island unit is about and what it can do to help assist people within this very difficult and fraught political climate. But as well as the questions in relation to that, I do ponder as well how the shared island, and ask in particular how the shared island unit will give effect to Article 2 of the Constitution. Article 2 of the Constitution refers to the birthright and the entitlement of everyone born on this island to be part of the Irish nation. So in welcoming the shared island unit and understanding some of its work remit as laid out thus far, I have also, and my party, Minister, you'll know, have also argued for more, that there is a very real need to plan for constitutional change and the change in demographic and the change in political realities across this island. But as well as that, and in complement to that, I think it is important that when we talk about a shared island, sometimes people understand that between the great historical divide in the north and that's it. But this state needs to tell people how they plan to share this island. So how they're going to give effect to that Article 2 of the Constitution. So for example, will the shared island unit talk about how this institution, our institution, can give effect to speaking rights for MPs in the north, which has been a long-standing promise of Fianna Fáil. That would be a great way to show people that we are also serious in this institution about sharing the island. Will we engage the media about the more recent phenomenon of amputating the 6 counties off of maps, of putting bars on audiences in the north from entering competitions, some of them for tickets to the All-Ireland final, ironically enough? Will we look at the full frontal assault on the Good Friday Agreement and Article 2 of the Constitution here that's manifest in cases like the Ahmed D'Souza case, where people who seek to simply assert their constitutional and GFA right to be accepted as Irish citizens are being taken through the courts? So I want to hear, Minister, and I want to work with colleagues right across government and indeed the Seanad and the Dáil about how we plan for constitutional change in a positive way, in an inclusive and in an informed and engaged way. But I also, in the interim, am very keen to hear from the state, from the government here, what they can do, that they don't need to wait a whole long period of time. They don't have to exhaust all kinds of fora and assemblies and dialogues. What they can do in the here and now to deal with, there's just 3 or 4 that I've outlined. There are many, many more that's within the gift of the government to resolve. And I hope through the shared island unit beginning its work urgently and actively, we can seek to resolve some of those issues. Gurmaigad.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks for your question on the shared island unit. I'll call on the Government Chief Whip.
Gurmaigad, Cahirlach agus Senator Donnghaile freshen. I thank you for raising the government's commitments on a shared island. The Taoiseach has asked me to respond to the points that you've raised. As the Senator will be aware, the programme for government set out the government's commitment to working with all communities and traditions on this island to build a consensus around a shared future. This work will be underpinned by the Good Friday Agreement and the absolute respect for the principle of consent. The Taoiseach has also stated that there should be a renewed push to use the potential of the Good Friday Agreement to deliver sustained progress for all communities on the island. A shared unit has been established in the Department of the Taoiseach in support of these commitments and priorities for the Government, and its work is now underway. The unit is led by an Assistant Secretary with 2 staff already appointed, and further assignments are in train. The work programme for the unit is currently being further developed. The terms of reference for the unit's work are to examine the political, social, economic and cultural considerations underpinning a future in which all traditions on the island are mutually respected, strengthening social, economic and political links north and south, and the promotion of all island approaches to the strategic challenges facing Ireland and Northern Ireland are also key objectives. Research and dialogue will be key to the unit's work. It will work collaboratively across government and with research, civil society, sectoral, business and community organisations on the island. The Government recognises the indispensable role of the Oireachtas and the Northern Ireland Assembly in representing people's views on relevant issues for the future of the island, north and south respectively. The Government looks forward to engaging in the Dáil and Seanad and through Oireachtas committees as we implement our commitments in respect of a shared island, as we've set out in the programme for Government. The work of the Committee on the Good Friday Agreement will be particularly relevant for the unit to follow, and other Oireachtas committees may also have contributions to make on a shared island, as indeed may elected representatives in Northern Ireland. In undertaking its work, the Shared Island Unit would engage with political and civil society representatives and all communities and on the island on an inclusive basis. In conducting its work, the unit will seek a broad base of contributions from across civil society in the island, including from groups that have been proportionally underrepresented in the peace process, including women and new communities on the island. The Government will work to support and contribute to an inclusive, holistic and constructive discourse that can build consensus on a shared future in which all traditions are mutually respected. The Government's approach will at all times be founded on harnessing the full potential of the Good Friday Agreement to sustain progress, mutual understanding and reconciliation for all communities on the island. Thank you, Cahill.
Thank you very much. Senator.
On Tuesday the 20th of July, in a written response to a PQ, the Taoiseach said work on its structure and staffing in relation to the Shared Island Unit and work programme is underway, and I hope that the unit will start its work over the coming weeks. So in all of that, we haven't been provided with an actual start date. And in giving us all of the very familiar words around the Good Friday Agreement, we're all very familiar with the sentiment and the objectives of the Good Friday Agreement, and that's why we have an existing committee on the Good Friday Agreement. The Good Friday Agreement, of course, amongst many other things, didn't and doesn't settle the constitutional question. It actually asks us the constitutional question. And when you couple that with our own constitutional obligations in this state to prepare for constitutional change, I don't see any evidence of that in either the very vague, opaque responses we've received in relation to this mysterious unit, and indeed the answer provided to me this morning, Cahirlock. Now, as I say, I support this unit, and it's really important that we all support this unit, but we can't just continue to support the sentiment of a unit, Cahirlock. We need to actually see government come forward with tangible plans. The Good Friday Agreement, which is rightly lauded again this morning, it's something we all cherish and hold very dear, is now live, imminently under assault. It is being torn up across many stages of it in the British Houses of Parliament and indeed in number 10 Downing Street. So never before has the need for the work as outlined by the Government Chief Whip been so necessary. But there is a huge expectation, there is a great deal of concern out there amongst people that the Irish Government needs to be doing more. And one way to do that is to actually begin the work of this unit, because you have the consensus, you have the support. There's very few things that government can come in here and talk about that garners such universal cross-party support. So I suppose in thanking the Minister for coming in this morning, in reasserting mine and my own party's, and indeed I'm sure other parties' support for this unit, it's really crucial and really key, particularly given the dynamic that we're in at the moment, that we start to hear tangible, practical timelines. We need to get this right. I appreciate that, and there is a lot of work involved. But this was a government commitment. This isn't a Sinn Féin promise. This was in the programme for government. In July, the Taoiseach told us he expected the work to begin within a few weeks. We'll debate a very important Fianna Fáil motion tonight on the internal market bill and the threat being posed to the Good Friday Agreement, and indeed so much more on this island as a result of what's happening in Britain. So I think everyone will accept that there needs to be a clear, concise timeline so that we can get an understanding of when this unit will begin its work, what its work will actually mean, and then we, as Oireachtas members, can start the process of assisting and being involved and being engaged with that work.
Thank you, Senator. Minister.
Acknowledge a note on behalf of the Government the Senator's contribution and views. But I will say in my initial statement I set out that the unit has been established. I mean, the Government was formed at the end of June. It was a key priority in the programme for government, and it has been established with an Assistant Secretary-General in the Department of the Taoiseach, and the work is now underway. So there's no opaqueness about the definitive position about its structure and about the fact that its work programme is actually commencing, and that's clear and important for the record. And a cooperative cross-party approach in the Oireachtas on the peace process and the Good Friday Agreement has always been sought, and the Government will continue to work in that spirit. The Government respects and affirms everyone's right on the island to make the case for the constitutional future for Northern Ireland they wish to see, whether they are nationalist, unionist or neither. The Government is committed to working with all communities and traditions on the island to build consensus around a shared future underpinned by the Good Friday Agreement. Consistent with that, the Government will work to harness the full potential of the Good Friday Agreement to deliver sustained progress for all communities on the island, implementing our commitments as set out in the programme for government. And as well, it's important to note the important cross-border infrastructure projects which are really important in that context, like the A5 Narrow Water Bridge, the Ulster Canal, the Sligo Enniskillen Greenway, and as well looking at broader strategic approaches to healthcare and other matters that are cross-border on the island. And I've set out that the Shared Island has been established in the Department of the Taoiseach. The Government wants to see the Shared Island unit harnessing the best ideas, the best evidence and the best partners so that we realise the full potential of the Good Friday Agreement, which is transformative for relations and for reconciliation between communities on the island. The Government looks forward to continued engagement with yourself, Senator, and everyone in the Oireachtas on its priorities and commitments in respect of a shared island.
Thank you for your response, and thank the Senator for the question. Our next commencement matter is in the name of Senator Patrick, and I think we have Minister Rabbit.